best regards from Ingolstadt. I have heard that you entered the Kamel GT Championship this year in the good old GTO car, so I wish you best of luck and a lot of success.
Best greetings to all drivers from the Audi GTO 90 Championship. Good success.
Just as both championships close into the smallest of margins, the drivers arrive at one of the most chaotic tracks on the calendar. Imola could put any one of our championship hopefuls on the back foot with an easy DNF. Will things stay close after this penultimate race? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 11 of the iRacing Kamel GT series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Adam Lindgren. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beer. Imola is both incredibly fast and technical, but now more known for its various chicanes. To help our audience get a feel for it, why don't we hop on board our track guide?
Alright, we're in the GSRC Audi, so let's do a lap around Imola. Coming down to Tamburello, this is easily one of your best places for a pass, but watch out for the kink in the braking zone because it makes it easy to dip a wheel into the grass. Through this chicane, try to hug the inside at the second apex. That'll set you up for a better run out of the final apex, which should hopefully make it harder for your opponent to go onto the attack into Villeneuve. This second chicane is a bit weird because it has a fast entry with a much tighter second apex. It tends to lure you into attacking it harder than you should. Quickly, get the car across the track and then brake for Tosa. This is a pretty typical hairpin. Square off the apex for a better launch and more speed up the steep climb to Puritella. You will have to kind of swing it into the line over the crest here though. And be ready to turn in earlier than you'd expect because this left hand almost always causes understeer in every car I've ever driven here. Now we dip into the valley that is Acqua Minerale. The trickiest aspect of this two-part bend is that you're slowing as you're turning through the first part and then getting even harder on the brakes to get it wound up completely for that second apex. Try not to track out too far on the exit because you can get a cut course penalty for doing so. Now comes Alta, which presents another chance at an overtake. But try not to go through this chicane too wide because it's very narrow and you'll find it easy to get tangled up with the other car. You'll finally get a short breather as we fall back downhill towards Ravazza. Just like Puritella, you've got to come from across the track to help line up your braking a little bit better. Watch out for the drop in elevation because it makes it easy to overshoot the first half and send yourself into the gravel. You get a small squirt of the gas, and then you've got to do your best to get a nice run out of the final corner. The front stretch is the longest acceleration zone of the track, so your momentum will be critical to keeping yourself safe from your opponents. But hopefully, you've now finished a lap around Imola.
Well, we just saw a Lotus 49 race here about a couple hours ago, and that was exciting enough. But Adam, I get the sense that this is going to take it up a notch.
It definitely will, Joe, and we're going to talk about the track that's going to take it up a notch for these Kamel GT guys. Having just submitted their application to replace the ill-stricken Chinese Grand Prix as Formula One's fourth stop on the calendar, the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo and Dino Ferrari Grand Prix circuit may be about to become the center of the automotive world in the near future for the first time since 2006. With 17 turns and 3.05 miles or 4.91 kilometers of narrow racing surface, this fast, challenging track may not seem like much, but like Joe said, it is a technical beast and one that will be challenging for both the Audis and the Nissan drivers alike. The high curbs in the first sector and slow switchbacks in the final sector threaten to derail or even damage the GTP cars, where the descending elevation of the middle sector threatens the control of even the most skilled Audi driver. The Audis hold a fair share of the responsibility in multi-class today through many of the sectors to break in places that will allow the Nissans by, and the Nissans must be patient on the corner exits today to avoid snow-plowing Audis off the front wing. Add to that the very long pit straight ripe for passing and plenty of chances to make late dives to the apexes, and you've got a reason for action here at Imola. Speaking of action, do we have action in the points, Joe?
We do. Both the classes are incredibly tight, starting with the prototypes, 5 points between them. And what's even more interesting, even the drop points are close, 18 and 16 points respectively for each of them that they have on the cars if they do get a DNF. So that should keep it at least somewhat tight if either Ardo or Antti find themselves falling out. Now, Fabian Jungbluth at 55 points back is mathematically eliminated. Shockingly, so is Fabian Gerber, who is now not able to take another championship. So we will have a Finn up at the top no matter what. Let's take a look at the GTOs, which is a little bit different.
Yeah, Dennis Neidhart is currently leading that, but only 2 points over Joni Hagner. So this is going to be very interesting going into the finals races of this season. Phil Lake is 16 points back, but I'm pretty sure he's going to have used all of his drop weeks at this point. Franco Scurry, 30 points back, and Esko Letanini is 36 points back. Realistically, Franco and Esko probably aren't in the picture because it would take all of the top 3 to wreck out of most of these races for them to get back into it. But those top 3, it really is anyone's game, and whoever has a good week or a bad week is going to determine the championship.
And I think Franco not so worried about the overall championship, but probably this one, the Milk Zoo GTO Championship. This is just Italian drivers in the GTO class that are competing with this. Franco, well, actually, you know, I take that back. Maybe he is worried by this point because he has now clinched the championship over Juan Ignacio Jodorcia. So at this point, he could focus on maybe trying to take the overall. Wouldn't that be something for him to get 2 in 1 season? He was our championship for Milk Zoo last season. Looks like he is once more. What about the race details for today here, Adam?
Yeah, this is round 11, the penultimate round of this Kamel GT series. This is a 40-minute race, and it's an open series, so anyone can join this one. Anyone can sign up before this race and jump in and race with these guys. They have open setup, so this is really going to be driver preference as far as how the car is set up. And they have no fast repair here, so no spare car. And you got 17 incidents, which equals a penalty, and 25, which equals a disqualification. And I think we might be getting close to penalties at the end of this race, Joe.
Yeah, with so many chicanes out there, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a lot of off tracks with drivers having to blow through them. Now, right now in qualifying, Justin Albrecht is up at the top of the provisional poll in the GTPs. And Ove Trangrade is leading that one. Now, I'm looking to see, do we even have Phil Lake here today? And I do not see him out here. So that'll change the championship right there.
Yeah, we're going to stick with Justin, but as we're watching him go around and take his fast laps, but I think that might be Phil Lake's 3rd missed race this season, or in a row so far. So that's going to be unfortunate for him going into the final rounds. I think that his championship fight is probably up at this point. So this is going to be down to Dennis Neidhart, and I don't even see Joni Hagner on the board, Joe. So Dennis might be running away with this.
Yeah, it's not the first time he's had this opportunity. There we see him out on track, currently 3rd on the timing sheets with a 41.5. And this is going to be his 2nd timed lap. Let's see if this one's clean as he comes down to cross the line. He's got a little bit to make up here to our pole sitter, and it's going to be a 41.8, so 0.3 slower. And just as he does that, he gets bumped down because Rob Olenek just passed by and went quicker, so he takes the inside of the 2nd row in the GTOs. Krejcik still coming around for his second lap. He's down in 8th. Interesting to note, Lepisto and Iamaki are 3rd and 5th, which is farther down than we're used to seeing them there in the qualifying lately. Krejcik doesn't improve on that second time by, so he'll stay in P8.
Here's Reed Miller coming across the line. He had a 142.4 last lap, and he improves it to a 142.29. So that actually moves him up just a little bit into 7th place for Reed Miller. So impressive stuff here. But a lot of the reason why we're not seeing faster laps the second time around is that this is a very hard track on tires. And so they can get heated up pretty quickly and can reduce grip.
And conditions are similar to what we saw earlier this morning with the Lotus 49s. It's 98 degrees Fahrenheit on track, so it is fairly hot, not overly so. But I wonder if that'll be a talking point, Adam, for those GTO cars, especially just trying to preserve the rubber underneath them.
Escaleta Nimi goes up to 5th place right there, and Ove Trangerade is rounding out his final lap here. He's the fastest driver on track right now.
He comes across the line. Looks like that one didn't count, so he had an off track. Doesn't need it though, because let's see, Hideki Koivisto's finished both of his, so there's Nocera, and I do not see Giulio for Colin out there, so nobody can overtake Ove in that GTO class in these final 30 seconds. Only driver we do have out there on a timed lap is Stefan Schlacher, currently down in 14th. He comes around out of Ravazza. Stefan about 6 seconds off the pole now. So not only will they have to worry about the lap traffic in the GTOs, but within their own class here. He does improve a 35.3, so that actually moves him up to 13th and demotes Roberto De Filippis to the last spot on the grid. That is going to solidify our grid, so let's go through the order. It's going to be Justin Albrecht on the overall pole with Fabian Gerber starting next to him. The old rivals are going to go at it again. Antti Lepisto, he's probably not even just hoping for a win, but maybe for solid results here today, considering the dangers. He'll start 3rd. Tobias Gerber will be P4 with Ardo Iamaki, the rival to Lepisto, starting in P5. Kitty Ingstrom starts in 6th with Steve Bycroft in 7th. A little far down for Steve. He tends to be faster than that in these cars. Heitor Sintez Guindo starts 8th today with Martin Krejcik in P9. Laust Olsen 10th for him with Pablo Suarez in 11th. Guilherme Kramer will be starting in 12th. And you got Schlacher, who we saw the last one across the line, 13th. And Dave Filippis in 14th with Mike Ruder not setting a time.
Ove Trangerade is going to take pole in the Audis with Michael Houghton lining up on his outside. Then we have Rob Olenek starting off 3rd position next to Dennis Neidhart, our current points leader, in 4th. Escaleta Niemi is going to start off 5th position with Andrea Albertinelli starting off in the 6th position rather. Franco Scurry is going to start off the group 7th, having overtaken Reed Miller in the qualifying while we were watching some of the GTPs go across, with Hideki Koivisto starting off 9th and Johnny Bell in 10th. Alexandro Nocera in 12th, and then Nico Avreliomi is going to start off in 13th, and then Giulio Forcola did not take a time.
All right, waiting for the last of the drivers to grid up. Just a couple more that we're waiting to bring themselves out there. Just Schlacher and Olsen. As Olsen puts his car on the grid, so does Schlacher. So we're getting ready to go racing for 40 minutes in the penultimate round here of the Kamel GT series. Should see that Porsche take off here in just a moment since we've got everybody out there. I'm actually not sure why it's not going. There we go. Now we're on our way down the hill towards Ravazza. No pit stops scheduled in this series, so it is straight from the green flag to the checkered. If you have to come down pit lane, you are in trouble, which we could see a few drivers in that situation today based on our expectations. Here's hoping that's not the case. Down and around the final double apexer onto the front stretch. There is a little bit of a run before they get to that pit entry. So is Gerber going to back them up and wait? He is backing them up. He's making sure he gets a good launch here. Pace car is in. Waiting patiently in the number 6. Everybody lined up. Look at how much they are stacked up here. Gerber actually doesn't go sooner than Justin Albrecht. Albrecht is off like a shot. He's going to take the green flag. That probably won't sit well, but with Fabian Gerber, the green flag did not wave when he went. As they come down into the first corner, he is going to take second away from Antti Lepisto. A lot of double file through that first chicane into Tamburello, but it looks like it is clean enough. Let's go to the GTO class.
They were 3 wide down the entire front stretch as Michael Houghton got a really bad start. This is putting him back in the 4th position with Ove Trangrade retaining the lead and Rob Olenek in second as well. We have a wreck, though, in the GTPs between Martin Krajcik and Steve Bycroft.
Oh, that's the second race in a row that Bycroft has had problems. He did not have a good time as we got a challenge for the lead because Trangrade has Rob Olenek coming around his outside in Tosa. And there you can see he might be able to get this done. Here comes Dennis Neidhart as well. Potential championship leader after this race. Actually, probably will be championship leader after this race. Challenging, but can't quite get there as Rob Olenek around the outside still doesn't have it done. Through Piratella, still wheel to wheel as they come down to Aquamento Raleigh. Ove Trangrade's not going to give up on this one, but eventually it looks like Rob Olenek is going to get it done, and he will take the lead away.
Dennis Neidhart looking to get through. He's got nothing to lose right now. He's going to gain points no matter where he finishes today, but he's not going to be able to do it. This track has a really good habit of stringing people up. But let's get back to that GTP pack.
Yeah, up at the front, Albrecht about 1.5 seconds ahead of Gerber right now, and they stretched away from Lepisto as well. Very opposite results from what we saw at the start of the GTOs. They have all split each other by nearly 1 second apart here from the front 5.
Definitely, Joe, and it's going to be difficult for them to try and catch each other, but the GTOs have a whole different story. This straight is so long, you can definitely get a draft and definitely try and make a move here if you're close enough. That time, Ove Trangrade was not close enough, but Dennis Neidhart is on a tear. He's trying to look for ways to get by, and Michael Houghton is going to be trying to get himself by as well, having lost those positions at the start.
I was just going to say, Houghton is right up in there. Top 4, not really breaking away. They've still got Albertinelli in 5th, holding on as they come up to Tosa for the second time. This is where the pass kicked off last time. No such luck for Trangrade to be able to return the favor on Olenek. But as they climb the hill, that was a good exit here from Neidhart, who right on board with. He lifts a little early over the crest into Piratella, though.
Yeah, these Audis are very close, and they're going to be nose to tail the entire time until they get these GTPs in there to break them up. And this is just the nature of this track. It is fast. There's plenty of opportunity for draft, and the hard braking zones really bring these Audis closer together. But if you make a mistake like you saw Michael Houghton do into that corner, the exit is really compromised, and you can lose a lot of time.
Yeah, and there's a slowdown penalty there as well. So Houghton managed to get away with it. Bad news for fans of Steve Bycroft. He has taken into the pits. Looks like he's done as Houghton under threat. And Albertinelli, as we switch over to our GTPs, looks like Andre Albertinetti managed to take 4th place.
Yeah, and we're taking a look at the battle between Arno Iamaki and Antti Lepisto. These guys are very close, and Michael Houghton actually in the GTOs missed his shift coming off the corner, so this has really messed him up. He's way back in the field now, Joe.
Something happened to Franco Scurry. I wonder if it was the same issue because he's fallen backwards. As we stay on this fight here between Lepisto and Iamaki. Again, championship implications. This is why we're watching this right now. With only 5 points between these two, and even though they are not fighting for the win right now, this is still major points, and Lepisto, if he finishes ahead of Iamaki, won't overtake him, but he will close it down.
Yeah, Iamaki's struggling to get power out of the corners. That's what he's struggling with the most, but he's got a lot of speed on the straights, whereas Lepisto is doing really well through the turns. So it's just the nature of these different setups here and the nature of these different driving styles that you're seeing the differences on track. And we're going to see whether Arno's close enough to make the pass, because Antti is down on straight line speed compared to Arno.
The differences in setup, which can sometimes rear their head as they come down into Tamburello. Looks like Iamaki started to close towards the end of the straight, though. They break into the corner. He's going to stay behind. Behind them, Olsen and Sintez Guindo for 7th place have been side by side. since Ravazza, and I think Olsen is going to be able to hold 7th place at the end of it.
Yeah, but he compromised his line going through there on the inside. So Gino's going to look up the inside here into this next chicane. This is going to be difficult for him. How are they going to handle this? Looks like Laus Olsen's going to take a really unoptimized line and break off a little.
Wow. So Laus Olsen finds himself squeezed off there and has to recover now as he gives chase on Sintez Guindo. Meanwhile, let's go back to the lead of our GTOs. Rob Olenek is still under threat from Trangrade and Neidhart. They've dropped Albertinelli now that Houghton had his issue. And if anything, you can see a little bit of a peek down into Villeneuve from Neidhart. Not quite as brave as what we saw from Sintez Guindo, but still giving it a thought.
Yeah, Joe, Obe is struggling through the corners right now. I'm not sure whether it's a brake bias issue or whether he's just getting ahead of himself, but he's really feeling the pressure from Dennis Neidhart, and it's showing. And Dennis, that's why he's peaking. He can see that he's getting under the skin of Obe, so Dennis might be looking to make a move here soon.
Come out of Puritella, just barely over a car length behind that number 13. Another little bit of a look down at Aqua Minerale, but back to the racing line for him. These cars, is wide for Trangrade. Is he going to get a slowdown penalty for that? Indeed he does. There goes Ove Trangrade. Neidhart gets it with ease. He is now up to P2.
That's big championship implications for Dennis Neidhart. He can gain as many points as possible this race and retain the lead by quite a bit, considering Joni Hagner is not here. But if he can win, I mean, he's got nothing to lose. He's got the points lead. All he's got his set sights on today is that lead.
Well, we had a three-way battle back in the GTPs for 10th, but Martin Krajcik just cut the course and actually kept the position. I don't know how he managed that. Let's take a look at this. It was himself, Suarez, and Kramer coming into Tamburello.
Well, Krajcik has major damage, Joe. And this is why.
Yeah, so that's what happened. He clattered over the curbs, and then he may have gotten overtaken. So we come back live. Yeah, so we don't need to see that replay, but as I said, he blew straight through the Tamburello chicane, but still kept ahead of both Suarez and Kramer. Now, they don't have rules like you see in F1. It's just essentially you have to give the time back. And I guess iRacing decided he did enough of that.
That's a little surprising, but Imola is not one of the tracks that gets raced that often in their endurance races, so it could be that some of the timing penalties are a little off for this particular series. So it's not something that we can really blame them for, but in the battle for the GTOs, is still very tight. Ove Trangrade is really trying to get back onto the back of Dennis Neidhart.
I can tell you, Suarez did take Krajcik when as we cut away there. Watching now Trangrade still trailing. You know, I wondered though, behind him, it's only about a second and a half, actually no, 3/4 of a second back to Albertinelli. He's bringing himself into the mix of this thing. We could have a 4-car fight.
Yeah, Albertinelli's doing a great job. We haven't seen him that much this year, but he's doing an excellent job trying to climb to the back.
So as they come up to the Tamburello chicane, Neidhart closes in, but isn't quite there on Rob Olenek. One mistake is all it's going to take. Have our leaders hit the back of this field yet? They're going to soon, so Albrecht will catch them this lap. Not these guys specifically, but the tail end of the GTO.
Yeah, Albrecht is about to catch Giulio Forcolin in the 13th position, so he's still about 4 seconds down the road, but you're going to see just how quickly that evaporates. You can see, as we're watching Albrecht, just down the field is Giulio Forcolin, and he's going to get there in a couple of turns.
So as we watch from on board, this should give us a really good idea of what we keep talking about. We're hyping it up a lot, Adam, but the frantic nature of trying to overtake the GTOs around this track. This is where it unfolds. You can see how far back he came from to overtake him.
Yeah, definitely. Justin Albrecht is going to have to cut his way through here. He's got Alexander and Osera ahead of him as well as Johnny Bell, so they're going to have to fight their way through very carefully. And this is where the Audis need to be aware of the closing GTP. They can't just take their line there because that GTP is going to be closing so quickly and unable to brake fast enough to stop if the GTO cuts him off. So this track is very unique in that regard, in the sense that the GTPs really have that closing rate that they can't stop quick enough. So as you can see, Johnny Bell staying to the right there to allow Justin Albrecht through.
That's 3 down for Justin Albrecht, and this has worked out well for him because he's staying way ahead of Fabian Gerber, who's still picking his way through the first of them. As we go to the GTO lead once more, this is really where the close fight has been all race long. Apologies to the prototype drivers. It's just been so spread apart up there. And these 4, because it now is definitely 4 with Albert Tonelli on the back of it, have been giving us a show. As wide goes Olenek. A little bit of a mistake opens the door. That's all that Neidhart needs. A better launch off of Tosa, climbing up the hill. He's got the inside into Piratella. Rob going to try and fight back. I'm not sure that he's going to be able to do it there, as actually loses grip on the AstroTurf and has to catch the car.
Yeah, Ove Trangerade lost quite a bit of time. Well, Rob Olnick lost quite a bit of time there, and Ove Trangerade really had the opportunity to try and slide up the inside, but this has really allowed Albertinelli to get in there, and Escalantiniemi is not too far back either.
So 5 cars now. This is just wild at this point. I didn't expect this to be any sort of draft track. Is it that front stretch that's bringing them together like this?
It's the front stretch, and it's also the fact that there's a lot of heavy braking zones. As we watch Rob Olnick go a little wide again, but that actually holds up Ove Trangerade. So as they get onto this front stretch, it looks like Rob got a great launch. He might be able to challenge Dennis by the end of it.
Down the front stretch once again. And Neidhart can see that multicolored GTO getting bigger and bigger in his mirrors. Ooh. Now it's going to be to his side as he backs out, not willing to risk it.
That was a pretty aggressive block there from Neidhart, though. Kept Rob Olnick behind them. And they've now got to think about just Albrecht, who's only 6.5 seconds behind these guys. So as the GTPs start to cut through, this could really break up this battle.
Yeah, Albrecht is coming up to Villeneuve just as they are now hitting Tosa. You could see flashes of him in the background. Oh, and almost the exact same as what we saw last lap, as Neidhart nearly went wide, but he recovers a little bit better than Rob Olenek did. So he'll hold on to that lead, but clearly not faultless.
Yeah, definitely. And Escalantiniemi is right there in this pack too. This is now a 5-car pack for the lead. He's gonna be right up there battling with these guys, and it definitely looks like whoever is in the lead of this GTO pack is going to be struggling to maintain that lead as they get onto this front stretch.
And just in a second, you're going to see Albrecht flash by as we ride on board with the tail of the train out of Alta. They pick up speed. Has he got enough to be able to get him down before Ravazza? He's going to have better braking into this corner. There he goes, left side. Oh, looking for 2 of them, but they're not quite there. He has to catch the car. Albrecht wanted to go by Albert Anelli, but it was not on the cards.
No, but now Albert Anelli is slow off the corner, so that allows Justin Albrecht to get through. But he's going to catch these guys right as they get to turn 1. This is going to be very interesting.
I wonder if he's slowing, though, here. I think it looks like maybe a little bit of a lift. He sees the battle going on up there. Yeah, look at that. Albrecht knows the deal. He knows that he doesn't need to try and challenge them quite yet. Maybe a better launch out of this corner. Yes, Tamburello to Villeneuve will allow him to get 1, maybe 2, not quite 3.
So Justin doing the right thing, and you can see the difference in braking and how Justin can't quite get braked as quickly as these Audis can on this track. That's the danger of the GTPs trying to cut through, and now they've got Fabian Gerber to worry about as well.
Oh, Gerber actually has got to worry about Lepisto, because Lepisto makes a move, and he pins him in coming up the hill. Nice stuff from the number 1 car to keep Fabian Gerber back. And so Antti Lepisto now up into 2nd place. More points that he's going to get over Iamaki.
But don't think for a second that this battle is over yet, because they still have to cut through these lead 3 in the GTOs, and this is the most difficult technical part of the track for each of these cars. Let's see how they...
We're going to take a pause between Olenek and Trangrade as they do that in the background. That was Iamaki trying to make harsh moves through these GTO cars to try and catch up to these two. Much better launch out of the chicane for Lepisto. He gets one. Ooh, almost 2 cars. Oh, but Lepisto is off coming through Ravazza. Here comes Gerber trying to overtake him. He is going to get back on track just as Gerber goes by. So briefly holding second place, Lepisto gets demoted to third.
But what this has done is majorly separated that battle for first place in the GTOs. That's now a 2.5 lead that Neidhart has. That might be all he needed to get ahead and stay ahead of Rob Olenek here.
Don't need to go to it, but we had an issue with Nico Arvalomi in the GTOs. He gets it going once again, but he's now last in the field. Didn't hit anything. I think he just had a big slowdown penalty. So we continue to watch our leader here work his way through. Neidhart managing to let Iamaki by, and that's going to give them a brief respite.
Yeah, but look at that. Olenek having chopped 0.5 off of the lead already, and some of that was due to the traffic from Neidhart, but some of that is just the raw pace of Olenek trying to get to the back of Neidhart, but Olenek's going to go wide here through the corner. That's going to give an opportunity for Neidhart to get a good launch.
That's another incident point, don't forget.
Tobias Gerber's off. Tobias Gerber's off track in the GTP, and he's taking a tow.
So must have been a big incident. Oh, it was. It was. He had contact with Letanime and was into the wall and put into a spin cycle.
Yeah, this is just a rough one. That Audi got a little bit loose coming off the corner, and Tobias had nowhere to go. And he just gets hit. This is rough. He was running in fourth position, wasn't he?
I believe he was. Yeah, he was in 4th. Oh, man, that is a real shame. He takes a DNF. So only our second car, shockingly, who is out of this race. For all of our naysaying, it's not been perfectly clean, but we've seen very few major incidents.
Yeah, and we're watching right now the battle for second. This is between Rob Olenek and Ove Trangrade, and they're only about 7/10 behind Dennis Neidhart. And it looks like Rob is starting to lose a little bit of pace to Ove, but this draft is really affecting these Audis significantly.
This is Ingstrom, who is riding in 5th, and he's going to try and pick his way through. You can tell he's got a little bit more patience than what we saw from the other cars, just because there's nobody battling with him. So he gets by Olenek. Finally, he comes up to the leader as we ride on board. Nicely by. Look at that. Almost a dance between the two cars, knowing exactly where they're going to place it.
Yeah, and Joe, I think Ove he's right on the back of Rob. If he can stay this close to Rob before they get onto the straight, he might have an opportunity to make a pass here. He's got to get right there, though. He's not quite close enough, but as he's aggressively breaking into these corners, he's closing that gap even.
A little bit wide coming off of Alta. He falls back yet again. If he does move forward, he's going to bring Albertinelli with him, because Albertinelli is about the same distance back as they come down through Ravazza. This exit is going to be the critical one. Onto the main straights. They look about even.
Yeah, the thing I learned when I raced this track back when I was running the GTU Championship is you really need to be very conservative entering the final corner, because the exit is what it's all about. If you're too aggressive entering, you're not going to carry speed through the exit. You're going to be too wide, and that doesn't give you a good launch. So then you lose speed on the straight, and that doesn't allow you to make passes.
Well, we got a battle between Pablo Suarez and Stefan Schlacker, and I think Suarez looks like he has this one pretty easily over the Austrian. So that moves Pablo up into 8th.
I'd expect Stefan to try and get back at Pablo, but it looks like he's a little bit down on acceleration right now. It's possible that he might have some undertrade damage from some curves. This is something that we haven't talked about yet in the Nissans, is how easy that is to collect. But something we also haven't talked about is the fact that Steph is up he's up 4 positions from his starting position, so a good climb from him.
Yeah, I get the sense that maybe he's just happy trying to get positions as drivers fall away, because both he and Suarez have gone upwards. Suarez from 11th on the grid, and like you said, Stefan from 13th. So still not a bad day if they finish where they are. And we're already halfway through this race, by the way. It is absolutely flown by.
Another guy that's not having a bad day right now is Justin Albrecht. Justin out to about a 7-second lead. Now, here's the thing, though. Normally, I would write this off, but recently, Justin's luck has been really bad. And so Justin's leads, he's had leads like this in the last couple of races, and they disappeared in the waning stages of the race. So we'll keep checking in on him and making sure that this lead stays as consistent as it is right now.
The stats bear out what you were just saying, because I took a look. He's got 1 win out of 3 poles. I guess make that 4 now, because he was on pole here. So we'd love to at least have a little bit better strike rate on these wins, I suppose. And he's still got a lot of racing left to go to seal this one up, so he's not out of the woods yet.
Another guy who's definitely not out of the woods is Dennis Neidhart, the leader in the GTOs. He is still under pressure from Rob Olenek and Ove Trangrade, and they're not that far back, Joe. They're still within a second, and if Dennis makes any sort of mistake exiting any of these corners, they're going to be right on his back bump.
You know, it's not just mistakes. I wonder if traffic could have a part in it as well, because they've got Laust Olsen coming up now, 7th place in these prototypes. He thought about going to the inside of Rob Olenek, but then thought better of it. Olenek going wide because he thought maybe he was going to come through, and then unfortunately Olsen also holding up Ove Trangrade through Aqua Minerale. Now he finally puts his nose in, and this is still going to hold him up because he can't quite complete the pass. This is becoming a headache for Rob.
Advantage Dennis Neidhart, and that is the traffic that is benefiting Dennis. Dennis has had good luck with traffic pretty much this whole time, and there's another example of that now, up to a 2-second lead.
I've seen Rob have a few times where it looks like he was going to get an off track, just going a little bit wide at corners. And again, they have those penalties to worry about. Once he hits 17, he'll be forced to head down pit lane for a stop and go. So they do have to keep things clean down the front stretch. Ove not nearly close enough to try and close in as they hit the braking for Tamburello once more.
Yeah, this is very, very close between Olenek, Trangrade, and Albertinelli. These guys are very tight now because of the traffic that held up Olenek. And I think Trangrade has got something for Olenek here. He's just going to have to stick close to him through these sectors and try and get him on that straight.
Ride on board with Rob, looking back at the Norwegian. Coming out of Tosa, here's yet more GTP traffic. Suarez.
And Joe, we just had an incident with Stefan Schlacker.
Yeah, trying to find it myself.
I believe it was a single car incident, yes. He got a little bit greedy exiting one of the corners onto the AstroTurf and got a little bit of wheel spin and hit the wall. So he's got some significant right side damage.
It was a pretty hard slap, and that unfortunately sends him down to 10th because of that contact. There you can see on the right side of the car where he hit. Thankfully still going, trundling around, but not at full tilt.
Oh, and Ove Trangrade in the GTOs just went off course a little bit loose on the straight, so this is a big problem for him. He's got Andrea Albertinelli coming up right behind him, and there he goes a little bit deep into that corner as well. So does this allow Albertinelli? He's going to stay behind and get the benefit of the draft here coming onto the straight.
I'd say he looks pretty close as well, though the exit was marginally better for the number 13 as we watch from the rear wing of Trangrade. Albertinelli actually isn't gaining a whole lot.
No, his exit wasn't great. Yeah, his exit wasn't great. Ove Trangrade was able to carry more speed through the corner, and that allowed him to pull away. But wow, Trangrade really having a moment there. It wasn't a moment that would have caused a wreck, just a moment that made him loose.
Not missing anything in the prototypes right now. They've all split themselves by at least 3 seconds or more, I'm seeing. So they have all found a little piece of track. I'm sure they're appreciating that. not having to fight one another while they fight this traffic, because as you can see, we've still got more coming through this battle for second place. That's Martin Krejcik now.
And we actually have two battles in the GTO class. We have one for 7th. This is between Reed Miller and Franco Scurry. Franco is our leading Milk Zoo driver, and Reed Miller is our Mr. Consistency here in the Camel series. He's very consistently just logging laps. He doesn't seem to wreck out at all, and they're very close to one another. Franco chasing down Reed right now. And we had another close battle between Esko Letaniemi and Michael Houghton. But Michael has been able to pull ahead, but look at this battle between Reed and Franco.
Scared him a little bit off the apex there as he missed it on that first part of Alta, but still can't quite do anything with it, so Scurry stays behind in his mirrors. They can see
Oh, we had a wreck!
Filippi's.
We had a wreck, and Andrea Albertinelli and Ove Tranquerade looks like they've both gone around.
Oh, and you know what? I think Albertinelli outbraked himself. Couldn't get it woed up in time.
Yeah, this is a rough one. He did touch the grass. He touched the grass with his right rear tire, and that's what ended up spinning him. And that got him and Ove off track.
Yeah, and as soon as he hit that, you could see there was no stopping it. Poor Ove was an innocent victim in it. He was so close to being clear, but just got tipped around at the very end.
So this pushes Michael Houghton up to the 3rd position and Esko Letaniemi up to the 4th position. But they are 6 seconds behind Rob Olenek, who is 2.5 seconds behind Dennis Neidhart. If Dennis runs consistently for these last 13 minutes, he's got this one here.
So Letaniemi will close in a bit on Hagner and Lake, but not Neidhart, which is the one he really needs to catch in points. Esko currently in 4th, one of our dark horses for the championship. It could be over after today because he does have to outscore him to stay in things.
Yeah, Dennis is doing a good job, but he still has to contend with traffic. That is always the surprise factor here in these camel races.
Sorry, Albertinelli is off again. I wonder if he's too damaged because I didn't see him hit anything. He just pulled off track and came to a halt.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think he's done.
Must not have been happy with how the car handled after that contact. He's down in pit lane. Continue to watch this fight.
Yeah, he's definitely done, and Letaniemi now is trying to get through Michael Houghton, and he's going to have to snake his way through. This is going to get very intense between these two because they're very tight, and Rob Olnick's actually cut down the lead to only 2 seconds, so Olnick seems to be bringing on the power now that they've gotten to 12 minutes.
Unfortunately, that battle coming to blows between Trangrade and Albertinelli has separated much of our fight up at the top here in the GTOs.
Oh!
Houghton and Letaniemi.
Sorry, Roberto Di Filippi just spun. He just spun behind Esko Letaniemi. I think he got his nose cut off there a little bit.
So let's take a look at the replay on this.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it happened, but it looks like he just got slowed down a little bit and then got a little bit greedy on the power, and that spun him around with that turbo.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a testament to how tough these cars are to drive. I think a lot of people don't realize until they hop in just how insane the power is on the GTPs, and then how fast and how hard they are to slow down the GTO cars are.
Definitely.
So as we watch Filippi's breakdown into Ravazza continuing on his way, let's head back to that battle for 3rd in the Audis, because Michael Houghton is really being pressured by Esko Letaniemi here for the podium position. They've got more of this traffic coming through. Kramer and Albrecht both on different laps, so they're not battling for position.
Yeah, but this could hold up Albrecht. Albrecht really needs to get by these guys quickly. He's still got a 6.5 second lead, but this is danger zone for him.
Yeah, it really is as he tries to get his nose in.
No!
Oh, and stuff like that happening as Kramer gets shoved off by Letaniemi, getting a better launch off the corner. Little bit of contact from Albrecht on Kramer. Very slight. Let's watch the replay, see if that causes any damage.
It does. He's got front end damage now, Joe. I don't know if it's going to be significant enough to hold him back. We're going to have to take a look at his top line speed, but take a look at this action right here.
This is the danger zone. And that was, you know, that wasn't even really contact. That was ghost contact, it seemed. So, very bizarre.
Yeah, but unfortunately, he did pick up some front end damage on that car. So Justin Albrecht, he's going to be struggling on straight line speed a little bit. This might bring Fabian Gerber back into play in the final moments of this race.
And I'm keeping an eye on Albrecht's top speed right now. And then I'll take a look at Gerber, who is about 5 seconds behind. 170 miles an hour, 171.
Oh boy. He's down.
Is where Albrecht tops out. Oh yeah, you're right. Ooh.
He's down by about 8 to 10 miles per hour on the straights. This could be the game changer that Fabian Gerber needs to get back into this, and this could be the continuation of bad luck for Justin Albrecht.
It really is. And who would have thought that that would have been the thing that cost him here today? The racing gods just do not like him this season, despite having incredible pace. So, let's see. They've got 8 minutes left to go. And what was the difference in lap time last time by? Gerber ran at 35.3. Albrecht at 35.5. Not totally... oh boy, the traffic makes it hard to read on that one. We'll have to wait for a cleaner lap from both of them.
Oh, and
going down to 8th place here in the GTO fields. Oh, Nocera, is he going to be able to get this done on Bell? Bell tight down into the second apex, can't get the launch that he needs. Tries to come back at him as they come up to Villeneuve, but he backs out of it, so Alexandro moves himself up into 8th with that.
yeah, and while we were watching other things, Franco Scurry looks like he had a disconnect issue. He had a throughput issue, and that's put him off the track. He's now out of this race, I think.
Oh, well, there goes his hopes of staying in the championship.
And Dennis now stuck behind this battle between Mike Ruder and Stefan Schlacker.
He's got about a 2.5 second lead, so not totally safe. Now it looks like he's going to be released as Gerber gets by. By the way, last lap, 38.4 for Albrecht. Gerber, a 34.3. Or 34.8 rather. I had that reversed on Albrecht. Not a 38.4. That would be dire.
Yeah, but Fabian's actually losing time in the traffic, whereas Justin Albrecht seems to be cutting his way through pretty effectively right now. So even though Fabian Gerber's turning in better lap times, Justin's still maintaining that lead.
I wonder if Justin's getting a little bit more aggressive with the traffic then. So we watching. Right now he's clear of all of it, so that actually helps him quite a bit.
But so is Fabian. Fabian's clear as well, and has 5.5 seconds left of Justin Albrecht, but he's going to have to do more than cut half a second off every lap to get to him. He's only got 6 minutes left, and at a minute 30 lap, that's only about 4 laps of time. So Fabian Gerber is going to have to get on that speed quite quick in order to catch Justin.
As they come down the front stretch, Justin this time with a 33.2. There's that clear air for the number 5. He did hit some traffic, did Gerber. So let's see, a 34.2. About a second off that time for Fabian. He's got to go a lot quicker. But like you said, clear air for both of them now, and they are on even playing ground.
Yeah, so it's going to be based upon It's going to be based upon their lap speeds for these last couple laps, and they might catch traffic on their last lap or two, and so that might be what causes a little bit of chaos between these.
They've got Giulio for Colin up ahead, but it's a single car, and not really surrounded by anybody. They do have a battle between Bell and Nocera ahead of him. I think you're right that they might catch that battle on the final lap, and that's where it's going to get tricky. There's that battle on screen. And that's for 8th position. Nocera holding it for the moment. A little bit of a defensive move from Alexandro. Oh, is a slip up from Johnny too.
Yeah, he was struggling with the brakes there a little bit, and I can report that Franco Scurry has returned to the track after his disconnect. He's down in 11th position though.
Well, at least he's got that Milk Zoo Championship wrapped up and doesn't have to worry about that, but this will definitely remove him from the overall championship in GTO mathematically. Albrecht with a little bit of traffic that time, a 33.5 compared to Gerber with a 32.5. So it switches back 1 second down, but they are now down to, is this 2 or 3 laps to go here?
Yeah, we should be probably around 3 laps to go here with Justin Albrecht. So Fabian's going to have to make strides like that or greater every lap as Justin Albrecht catches up to the battle of Johnny Bell and Alexander Nocera.
I was just about to mention that, and thankfully for at least Albrecht, they've spread apart a little bit, so it's not a direct battle. He's going to get inside of Johnny Bell. This made life a lot nicer for the number 5. He's not waiting around, though. He gets rid of both of them very quickly.
Now the challenge will be to see how Fabian Gerber handles this. He's going to catch them at probably the worst time. Is going to be coming through this twisty section here. This has the potential to hold up Gerber quite a bit.
Let's see, catches them just as they come to Alta. He's not being held up yet. Sometimes it'll be hard to read down into Ravazza. Which way is he going to go? He has the left side open. Superior braking power. Oh, but he just about gets shoved from behind as Johnny Bell has to lock the brakes up not to run into him.
Yeah, Fabian's not worried about Johnny Bell's feelings at this moment. He needs to get up there and get to Justin Albrecht. He's didn't lose any time, but he didn't gain any time that lap either. And so that's going to be a big, that's huge for Justin Albrecht. He's only got about a lap, maybe 2 laps left.
2 laps left, yeah. This is the penultimate lap. So unless let's see, is there any more traffic in front of him? There's Franco Scurry and then nothing. Absolutely nothing in front of him. So once he gets rid of the Italian here, he is free to just run the lap completely by himself.
We're on board with Dennis Neidhart right now. He has about a 3.5 second lead over Rob Olenek. Rob's been cutting into that lead lately, but I'm not sure if it's going to be close enough as Dennis gets passed by Ardo Iamaki. Rob's got a similar goal as Fabian, is trying to close a massive gap, but it's probably twice as hard for Rob, considering he doesn't have any draft to help him out right now.
Yeah, this is probably going to be a race of what could have been for Robbo. He had the pace. He looked like he could have challenged Dennis Neidhart, but the traffic really kind of ruined things for him, and he has not been able to close things back down as we ride on board now with our GTP leader, Justin Albrecht, showing him how it's done and getting ready to take the white flag with a 4-second gap over his main rival, Fabian Gerber. Gerber is clear of the traffic as well, but I do not think he has the pace in that car to be 4 seconds a lap quicker.
Yeah, Justin Albrecht doing exactly what he needs to do. He's got open track ahead of him, so all he needs to do is just measure his pace to Fabian Gerber. One of the things you don't want to do, though, is break your flow. If your flow's going good, keep racing at that pace, but don't push it. All he needs to do is just get to the line.
It's down to 3.8 seconds between them. Gerber was another second quicker last time by. Not quite a second quicker. Say, come through, and we get the white flag here now for Dennis Neidhart as well. 3 seconds back to Rob Olenek. Neidhart with a two-point gap over Joni Hagner is going to see that increase by a huge margin.
Oh, whoa, take a look at that. That's a car off track there with the GTPs. This is a battle between Suarez and Olsen off track.
Yeah, and that was actually Suarez getting the position from that mistake of Olsen. So he'll be happy about that one.
Yeah, that battle was...
Meanwhile, our leader is actually coming around to the end of the lap. The checkered flag tantalizingly close with that 4-second gap still intact to Fabian Gerber. Justin Albrecht had a little bit of a scare this time, but it looks like he's got it under control. Finally, he beat those minutes. A 5 victory here today at Imola.
Fantastic race from him. He's done a great job of trying to maintain position and a great job regaining that lead.
And it's Neidhart now as well, holding back Rob Olenek. He's not been able to close in. Is there any track behind him? There is Dave Filippi's, but he doesn't look like he has any intention of trying to lap them. Just let this race finish out. So Dennis Neidhart with 1 victory to his name at Spa. Looks like he's going to get another one at another classic track. This time here at Imola. An Italian win, an Italian weekend for Dennis Neidhart as he takes the victory at Imola today.
Back in that battle for 7th place with the GTPs, this is Laust Olsen and Pablo Suarez. It looks like Pablo's going to be able to hold off Laust on this final corner, and that is going to allow Pablo to come home in 7th. Laust Olsen unable to recover to 8th.
Enzo also finished ahead of Imaki in that championship to close things up for the prototypes. So things are going to get fascinating today, but we'll take a quick break. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews. Stick around because on screen you'll see all the upcoming races here on GSRC. welcome back to Autodromo. Enzo, Dino Ferrari, better known to race fans as Imola. We expected a lot more chaos out here, and even though there was a little bit, it was pretty clean for an Imola race here, and Justin Albrecht managed to take the victory with a little bit of damage, and he still limped it home. Fabian Gerber couldn't quite catch him, the lap traffic causing him too much of a problem to run down Albrecht, still with a second place. Antti Lapisto taking third and beating Arto Iamaki, who was ahead of him in points coming into this. He should still be ahead, but it'll be very tight coming into the final rounds. Iamaki with fourth, with Kitty Ingstrom placing fifth today. Heitor Sentes Guindo, him out on track. He gets sixth. Pablo Suarez with a P7 climbing from 11th, and Laust Olsen finishes 8th today. Mark Braithwaite, P9 for him. Last car on the lead lap was ahead of Mike Ruder, who finished in 10th. Stefan Schlacher took 11th today with Roberto De Filippis in 12th, and Guilherme Kramer, the last of our prototypes to finish in 13th.
Dennis Neidhart comes home with the win today and does a great step into sealing his championship going into the final round. Rob Olenek comes home in second place after a decent challenge to Dennis, but just lost out in the traffic. Michael Houghton, after a tough first lap, is able to climb back to third position with Esko Letaniemi joining him in fourth. Then Ove Trangerade, just an unfortunate incident between him, and then he comes home in fifth position with Reed Miller, Mr. Consistency, in sixth. Hideki Koivisto comes home in seventh place with Alexandro Nocera in eighth place with Johnny Bell ninth. Giulio Forcolan comes home in 10th, and then Franco Scurry, after his disconnect, is able to recover to 11th. Then we have your DNFs, Andrea Albertinelli, Nico Avralomi, Tobias Gerber, and Steve Bycroft.
Sad to see them leave a little bit early, but joining us early is Fabian Gerber, second place finisher here today. Fabian, I don't know if you were aware, but Justin actually got some damage that put him way down on top speed at the end. And we thought that maybe you were going to catch him, but it looked like traffic at the end just denied you the opportunity.
I wasn't exactly aware. I just noticed that I was making up time, but I thought it's due to traffic. And it was a bit give and take today. I had very bad luck in traffic early in the race, and then it seemed to get better by the end. But I saw I got pretty close, actually, by the end, but I didn't know about his damage.
Well, sorry to break the news to you then, because that's got to be a little bit frustrating. But speaking of frustration, you talked about the traffic a lot. We came into this expecting it to be one of the more messy ones in terms of traffic, but we didn't see too much in the way of drivers tangling with each other between the two classes. What was it like from your perspective actually in the cockpit?
It was totally okay, actually. It was just, like I said, it was a question of luck where you have them in front of you. If you lose a lot of time, if it happens, then you just have to live with it and wait till you can overtake them. And they were really quick on the straight, relatively, because we had a lot of downforce today. So they were almost as quick on the straight. That made it even more difficult. And I got boxed in once, but it wasn't the mistake of the Audi. It just was a bad situation for us. So it's hard to tell, but I didn't have any problems. I think my brother had, but it's it was okay for me.
Yeah, unfortunately, Tobias was the DNF today. Speaking of straight line speed, well, that's going to be critical next week because we're going to Monza with the combined circuit. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I really look forward to that. That's my for 12 weeks. That's the thing, the climax of the season for me. I really look forward to that. That's going to be great. It's a draft feast, and last time went really well for me. But then it was a fuel gamble game. This time it's just going to be a pit stop and you're going to be fine. But as long as you can keep up with someone in front of you, you're going to be there for the win. So it's going to be a very exciting race, I think.
I like that way of putting it, a draft feast. Well, thanks for coming and talking to us, Fabian. Congratulations on a podium, and can't wait to talk to you next week.
Thank you very much. I look forward to that too.
That was Fabian Gerber. Up next, Adam has caught up with second place over in the GTOs, Rob Olenek.
Yeah, Rob, looks like you were doing a great job of trying to catch up to Dennis Neidhart, but that traffic just did not play in your favor today. How close were you to catching him a couple of times?
I felt like I could I could catch him, but you just never know. It's my own fault for screwing up and letting him by. I mean, it's a really hard track to pass on. I won the 49 race today. Michel Dugnan screwed up in the same exact spot and gave me second. So it was kind of like reverse of what happened earlier. But Dennis ran a really good race. And when you're in first in the Audi, even in the Nissan, guys give you more room. So if you can, the strategy is to get into first as quickly as you can. Once the traffic comes through with the Nissans, you're pretty well golden. If you're sitting in first, they're always going to be a little more patient. No one wants to take the leader out. So I had my work cut out for me, and I tried, but I just couldn't get it.
Well, a good finish regardless, Rob. And we're looking at next week. It's the wild card. It's Monza combined. What are your thoughts going into that one?
I don't remember. Have we done that in Camel? Maybe we have.
I believe we did it either last season or the season before.
I bet it'll be fun. In the 49, it's awesome. I do think I remember doing that. That was when Tanner had some kind of weird incident.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a lot of fun. It's going to be a draft fest in the Audis because it's such a long, like a far back draft. It's going to be just a group of people waiting, is my guess, until the last lap. Hopefully people will just be patient and not be so aggressive early. But it should be fun.
Well, Rob, great finish today, and we look forward to seeing more finishes like that from you in the future. And thanks for talking to us.
Okay, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
That was Rob Olenek, our second place finisher, and now we have Michael Houghton, our third place finisher in the GT.
Hey guys.
Michael, well, it looked like it maybe could have been a little bit more exciting for you if it wasn't for that slowdown penalty early in the race. I mean, how did you recover from that?
Man, I don't know. It was luck. I started praying. I was doing some sort of rain dance in my car, man. But we got lucky with and was it Alberto Nelly that got together and managed to recover back up to third. But yeah, that yield would not go away.
Eventually, you did manage to get it going. Now, it seemed like that the front group really did stay together quite a bit as well. I was a bit surprised that it was as much of a draft track. Did you kind of expect that coming in?
I thought that the front group would kind of just take off, but once I got that yield and recovered and started racing my way back through the field, I saw that everybody was still in my field of view, so that kind of gave me some hope to finish somewhat strong at the end of the race.
Seems like you've been pretty good on pace recently, even though you're out of the championship this season. Do you look to next season, and do you maybe think that you could potentially try and challenge for the crown?
Could be. I mean, today we had the fastest lap, so we definitely had a strong, dirty torque Audi. Yeah, definitely next year we'll give it another shot, possibly change over to the Nissan. So, new challenge, see how it goes.
Well, we'll look for you in that faster class. Again, congratulations on a podium today.
Thank you, guys, and I'll catch you later.
It's Michael Houghton, third place in the GTO class. That's going to close us out with our interviews. So once again, we give a big thank you to the Kamel GT Series for bringing us back for another season of coverage. But also, we want to thank the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast. They're listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. And thanks to the team today, Adam, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Also, our social media is at GSR Channel for Twitter. Facebook is Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram is GSRC_Graham. We've got a link to our merchandise store down below in the description, and that is gsrc.storeenvy.com. Now, as we mentioned, you don't want to miss next week for the finale. Monza, and not just Monza, but the combined circuit. That means the Oval and the GP course. That'll be Saturday, February 29th at noon Eastern. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard, see you on the track.